Rich Eisen asked Larry David, if someone says, hey, you want to go to the ball game with me? Are you allowed to ask, where are the seats? And Larry, of course, his answer was like, of course. Like I'm not going with you if they're bad seats. But it got me thinking because we have a friend who said his kids started asking that, like, yeah, I got tickets from work. And his kid's like, well, where are the seats?
I have to say it's an annoying question, but it's a legitimate question. It really is, because if you're on the fence already about the sport or the weather or maybe even your company, the person who's asking, right, it does play a factor in your decision. But it also shows that that person may be a little jaded. Like, I'll be the first to tell you that my girlfriend who lives the hot chick life, if you've been influenced by the hot chick life,
and by that he means if you're an attractive young woman, there's a very good chance you don't usually sit in the nosebleeds.
Right.
Like, you don't go to a concert and see the hot chicks in the worst seats.
You
don't go to a game. I saw Covino's girlfriend at a Rams game last year, and I'm like, oh, your girlfriend likes football? No, not at all. But she was sitting in the front row.
Yeah, I mean, when you get hot chick treatment,
with like four
life's
other
a
girls.
little different. You ever see a bunch of beautiful women dancing on a yacht, and you're wondering, man, I wonder how they got to Tulum. You know, it's just the hot chick life that you'll never understand. Once they've been influenced by this type of accommodation,
Sleeping with a sweaty old bald guy is my answer usually.
That's not the answer from my girlfriend. I'm just saying that's what people may think. But once they've lived this life and they've had the best seats, they don't want to sit in the nosebleeds. And a lot of times it's because they dated someone successful. They knew somebody that had a box. They were invited because they're hot. So once you've been spoiled, maybe you've made your own path, you made your own money, and you live that life, right?
Danny G.
You're just a successful guy with great accommodations. You don't want to sit in the crappy seats.
Danny, you worked before sports radio. Danny G was running a lot of stuff in the hip-hop world of radio, record labels. If someone invited you to a concert, you've had too many good seats in your life maybe to say, yeah, I don't want to sit all the way up there, or no. Or are you like, humble, I'll go with it no matter what?
I think you do get a little bit jaded because of a lot of the concerts, you're either running it in some capacity, you're a part of it, or you're standing on the side making sure things are running smooth, or you're somebody's guest on the sidelines.
Let's
there.
put it in perspective for a second. If you've swam in the most beautiful oceans, right? You've been to the Bahamas. You've been to Turks and Caicos. You've snorkeled in the greatest coral reefs. You want to go to the Jersey Shore and do the backstroke in that murky water? Like, do you really want to do that? Yeah. It's like my mom always says, what's that weak-ass saying?
Is it in Spanish?
No, it's not in Spanish. She says, how you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris? Right? It's from some old-time movie that I'm sure she loves from TMC. But how you going to keep them on the farm?
TCM.
TCM? Turner Classic Movies?
Classic Movies.
I thought it was Turner Movie Classics. When they've seen Paris, they're jaded a little bit. Now, I'll be honest, man. I try to play, and I don't try to play. I live. Try to live.
A humble life.
The humble card. Just recently, my sister bought pretty average Yankee tickets, and I didn't think about it at all.
I noticed.
And I was taking my daughter to her first game. I didn't want to set the standard too high.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong that I noticed it, Danny G? That I was like, Covino talked about taking his daughter to the first Yankees game he's ever taken her to.
But you were
and
saying
they were sitting by the left field pole?
Why do you want to spoil your kid right off the bat like that? Like, leave expectations ahead of them.
Nah, I want my daughter to be picky with the guy she ends up with.
No, because then what happens is when you overspoil your kid, when you want to take them to Disney World, they don't care. You know why?
Dad, do we have Fast Pass?
Yeah,
What?
they've been there already, and they want Fast Pass because you got to keep the standards at a reasonable height, at a reasonable level.
Hey, Ramos, if I said, yo, Ramos, Dodgers game, let's go, would you be, even if you didn't say it, would you be thinking, I wonder where the tickets are?
Yes, I would be.
Yeah, I
would assume from you they'd be somewhere around behind home plate.
Because I'm not going otherwise.
Right.
I'm not some pretentious a-hole.
Slow down.
Just,
you sound like one. You're acting like your daddy Stacks. You sound like one to the average fan who's willing to grab a ticket to any. And by the way, the game does matter. If you're talking playoffs,
I'll sit wherever I'll sit wherever I can. But if you tell
that
me,
matters too.
If you tell me a Wednesday night Dodgers game versus the Pirates or something, I'm not sitting in the upper deck left field.
But not everybody's Bobby Bottle service like you think you are. You know what I mean? Not everybody is that.
Dan Byer's a guy that I've seen on the sidelines at the Super Bowl. I've seen Dan Byer at U.S. Opens on next to the golfers. I doubt Dan Byer's sitting in the upper tier in the end zone of a game.
You would be wrong, Rich Davis.
Whoa.
I side with Mr. Covino on this one.
Yeah, I never really asked, man. I don't.
Because
all right.
the invite is not to go to the game. The invite's to hang out with the person.
I agree with you, man.
That is true.
I really do. And I'm not trying to play this Mr. Humble Pie kind of guy. But that really is my first instinct isn't the tickets. It's do I want to hang with this dude or not?
And you know what? While it might seem like I'm coming across like the super particular guy, if we were all going with a group of people I cared about, like if we said, yeah, Ramos, Danny G, Dan Byer, hey, we're all going to a game together, I would go just because I really want to spend time with you guys and, chop it up and have fun and laugh and have a drink. But if I'm picking, we have a guy. Can we talk about Bad Ticket Rob?
Bad Ticket Rob, man. He's got a reputation.
There's a guy we know, Bad Ticket Rob.
Oh, by the way, he might not know we call him Bad Ticket Rob, so don't tell him.
One of our good buds. Every time we hang with this guy, such great times. But if you leave him
But guess
in
what,
charge
everybody?
of the tickets,
Guess what? He buys bad tickets.
yeah, I mean, I think the name's self-explanatory. You go to a concert, you're in the obstructed behind the pole seats. You go to the ball game, you're like sitting in the row with it's under the overhang where you can't see fly balls.
Yeah, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants obstructed view, but not everybody I guess I shouldn't say wants, but not everybody deserves those tickets behind home plate.
That's true. But
Just
then
because.
let me ask you another.
Not everybody could afford that.
I agree, but let me ask you part 2 to this question, and then we'll move on. We'll move on, like your favorite big-time slugger. We'll move on. If you go to a ball game with your kids or an amusement park, you might be spoiling your kids, but if by spoiling your kids, you're enjoying your time more, do you look at it as like, well, then, damn it, I guess I'm going to spoil my kids? Because if you go to Universal or Disney or Knott's Berry Farms or one of the, Six Flags.
Oh, you mean that empty lot with all the...
Yeah, where Danny G's mom used to take him. Yeah, there it is.
It's closed, sorry. Guess they knocked it down.
If you're able to get the hookup or pay the extra money for like the skipping of the line or the fast pass or the, VIP service, do you think your kids need to learn the lesson of waiting in line? Or do you think, no, F that. If I could skip the line, I'm skipping the line.
So it makes them a snot-nosed, pretentious, spoiled brat. It does. And I'll be honest, when my daughter to my girlfriend, when they ask me, do you have Fast Pass? Do you have, let me see the tickets. Are they good tickets? It takes away from the gesture. It's like, why are you worried about that? Because you were front row last time you saw Aerosmith.
Let me tell you.
Front row last time you saw the Joe Bros. Because you were front row at the Chargers game.
Because Dad got you a meet and greet with Billie Eilish last time.
Right. So now you think everything's a meet and greet?
Well, we have a buddy and a listener friend of ours in Cincinnati, Michael Mauser. He is a huge Reds fan. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that was going to Reds games before they were good. He's like a loyal Reds fan. And he said his son, his son's like a good kid, not like a pretentious little kid, like a good kid, but he's like, you treat your kids too nicely sometimes, they'll get tickets. And it'll be like, well, Dad, you want to go to the Reds game? Well, where are the tickets? And when your teenage kid's saying, well, where are the tickets? I don't know if that means you set them up with good expectations or they're spoiled. Or both.
Spoiled. But a little of both. Yeah, I think you need to balance it out. Next game, nosebleeds. Just to let them know that, hey, life's not always meet and greets and front row. That's not what life's all about.
I don't know. If you have a daughter, I know I'm not trying to sound sexist, but if you have a daughter, my goal in life is that when she's a grown woman, she has very high expectations of what a dude could provide and treat her.
It's very unfair.
I don't want her ending up with some guy that's like, yeah, you're going to sit in the nosebleeds and like it.
Or
to me, that just equates to high maintenance.
Or you could teach her how to earn that on her own and not rely on a guy to provide that for her.
Or teach her to appreciate everything in life.
Yeah, or
not
that.
just the finer things.
Nah, I'm not going to do that.
It's true, because guess what? You can go to a ball game and have an average seat and enjoy the company, have a good beer and a hot dog, and enjoy the game. It doesn't have to be, am I going to be on the big screen, front row behind home plate? That's like, I don't know. It just sounds very pretentious.
It sounds like you're teaching her to love for material and not for...
No, I'm not telling her what to love. I'm telling you what I want for her.
Yeah, you want her to be
to
a
keep
gold
up with the
digger.
Kardashians. Yeah, hey,
essentially.
this is
No,
what
you know
said.
what? You wanted to find someone who can
I
take her
want my- here's what you just
on
said.
yachts
Here's
like
what you
Tom
just said.
Brady.
You may not have wanted to say this, so you have all the time in the world to explain. But you basically said, "I want my kid to keep up with the Kardashians."
Yeah.
I don't
And
want my
I don't want that.
I don't want my
I want my kid to stay humble, have high expectations, but stay humble.
Stay humble.